Francesco Bagnaia's nightmare weekend at Phillip Island reached its lowest point on Sunday when the double world champion hit the deck with just 4 laps remaining. The Ducati Lenovo rider, who has built a reputation for calm precision under pressure, looked visibly out of sorts all weekend, and his post-race comments revealed a deeper frustration brewing beneath the surface. Bagnaia's Australian Grand Prix started badly and only got worse. A dismal qualifying performance saw him line up 14th on the grid, far from the front row positions he's accustomed to. The sprint race offered no redemption either. He could manage only 19th, leaving him pointless and allowing Marco Bezzecchi, Aprilia, to snatch 3rd place in the championship standings. Then came Sunday's main event. Despite pushing hard in the closing stages, Bagnaia lost the front and crashed out, a moment that encapsulated the entire tone of his weekend. After the race, the Italian admitted 2 key reasons behind the fall, both revealing a rider caught between pride and pressure. "When you're riding on the limit, a crash can happen," Bagnaia explained. "I didn't want to finish at the back again. I'd rather crash 1,000 times while fighting for points than end up last." That fierce determination to avoid mediocrity, he suggested, led him to push beyond the limit. But there's more to the story than just personal ambition. Bagnaia was also candid, perhaps even subtly critical of Ducati's performance at Phillip Island. "My Ducati today wasn't the same Ducati I had in Japan," he continued, referencing his dominant win at Motegi. "The bike in Japan felt perfect, this one didn't. It wasn't the real Ducati." Those comments raised eyebrows, especially considering how visibly disappointed Ducati's general manager Gigi Dall'Igna appeared in the garage. The Italian engineer, who has overseen the brand's MotoGP dominance in recent years, knows all too well that consistency is key in the championship fight, and that Aprilia's recent surge poses a serious threat to their supremacy. Indeed, Aprilia dominated both races at Phillip Island, leaving Ducati scrambling for answers. The contrast in form between the two manufacturers was glaring, and Bagnaia's rare public frustration only amplifies the tension within Bologna's red camp. For a rider of Bagnaia's caliber, finishing outside the top 10 is unthinkable. His words reflect not just disappointment, but a warning Ducati cannot afford off weekends like this if they hope to defend both the riders' and constructors' titles. Phillip Island exposed cracks in Ducati's usually flawless armour, and Bagnaia's crash served as a brutal reminder that the margin between control and chaos in MotoGP is razor thin. As the paddock heads towards the next round, all eyes will be on whether Bagnaia and Ducati can rediscover that real Ducati form before their rivals run away with the season's momentum. Bagnaia's crash didn't just cost him valuable points, it struck at the heart of his psychological rhythm. The reigning champion thrives on momentum, and once that rhythm is broken, the consequences often linger beyond a single weekend. Phillip Island, with its unpredictable weather and demanding corners, has always separated the brave from the overconfident. And for Bagnaia, his desperation to make up for earlier mistakes might have tipped the scales too far towards the latter. Inside the Ducati garage, the mood was unmistakably tense. Mechanics stood silent, engineers buried in data screens, and Dall'Igna's expression told the story without words. Ducati's empire has been built on precision engineering and methodical dominance, but even the best machinery can falter when confidence fades. The whispers in the paddock suggested that Ducati's latest setup decisions might have misfired, leaving Bagnaia fighting a bike that wasn't behaving as expected. Meanwhile, the contrast with Aprilia could not have been sharper. Bezzecchi's rise to 3rd in the standings added an extra layer of sting for Ducati, who were once untouchable just a few rounds ago. Aprilia's balance, corner speed and tyre management have evolved into a deadly combination traits Ducati had once perfected. It's no surprise that Gigi Dall'Igna looked increasingly concerned, as if the winds of MotoGP's power dynamic were starting to shift. Behind the scenes, questions are already being raised. Did Ducati push development in the wrong direction after Japan? Were their tyre choices too conservative for Phillip Island's unique grip levels? Or is the real issue psychological, with Bagnaia struggling to manage the pressure of defending a crown that suddenly looks more vulnerable than ever? These are the sort of doubts that can rattle even the most experienced teams. Some within the paddock believe Bagnaia's frustration stems not only from the crash itself, but from feeling outperformed by satellite riders using similar equipment. When a factory champion sees independent teams finding more pace, it can be deeply unsettling. Bagnaia's insistence that this wasn't the real Ducati may have been less a technical complaint and more a statement of lost connection between rider, machine, and confidence. It's worth remembering that Bagnaia has built his success on resilience. Every time he's stumbled in the past, whether through crashes or pressure, he's found a way to bounce back stronger. But this time feels different. The competition is fiercer, the margins tighter, and the Ducati paddock less harmonious than before. The Phillip Island crash was more than a racing error. It was a symbol of how fine the line between dominance and defeat has become. As the championship heads into its decisive stages, one thing is clear: Bagnaia and Ducati must rediscover their unity quickly. MotoGP waits for no one. If the real Ducati doesn't return soon, the rest of the grid, led by a resurgent Aprilia and the ever-dangerous KTM, will seize the opportunity. Phillip Island may prove to be a turning point not just for Bagnaia's title defence, but for Ducati's entire narrative in the 2025 season. In the days following the race, tension reportedly continued to simmer within the Ducati camp. Team insiders hinted that a closed-door meeting between Bagnaia and Gigi Dall'Igna lasted far longer than usual, with discussions focused not only on setup data but also on rider feedback and team dynamics. It's rare for Ducati to air internal frustration publicly, but the combination of poor results and Bagnaia's post-race remarks has forced the factory to confront uncomfortable truths. There is now an unspoken understanding. The harmony that once defined their dominance must be rebuilt, and quickly. The upcoming round will therefore be more than just another race, it will be a statement. For Bagnaia, it's a chance to remind the paddock why he's a two-time world champion. For Ducati, it's an opportunity to prove that Phillip Island was merely an outlier, not a warning sign of decline. The Australian GP exposed their weaknesses, but it also reignited their hunger. Whether they rise or falter from this setback will determine not just the outcome of the championship, but the legacy of one of MotoGP's most formidable partnerships.